Hello everyone. I decided to make a quick little video dedicated to this absolutely red-pilled article that I found from The Economist. And, well, if you've read the title by now, you can see that, or at least suggest, that this basically takes the whole equality in jobs and advanced professional positions that was achieved by the Soviet Union, the Eastern Bloc, and Yugoslavia during the Cold War. This article is taking all of that and essentially calling it a bad thing, which, you know, the usual line of oppression or whatever, forcing people, government, that kind of thing. There's more to it than that. Well, not really, but there's more detail to it than that, and I want to go through just how red-pilled this entire article is right now. So yeah, you can see the title, Why Half the Scientists in Some Eastern European Countries Are Women. Soviet legacy is part of the reason. And the main idea is very much oppression, blah blah blah, forcing blah blah blah, you know, typical anti-communist rhetoric. Yeah. Science is still a man's world. Since 1903, when Marie Curie first won the Nobel Prize, almost 600 blokes, but only 19 women, have taken home the coveted award in physics, chemistry, or medicine. In the realms of more ordinary talent, just 28% of the world's researchers are women. Even in the European Union, where the sexes are more equal than in other parts of the world, a mere 2/5 of scientists and engineers are women. In Germany and Finland, it is less than 1 in 3. Eastern Europa bucks the global trend, according to a recent report from Leiden University in the Netherlands. In Lithuania, 57% of scientists and engineers are women. Pretty good. Bulgaria and Latvia follow close behind at 52%. Universities in Poland and Serbia were ranked among the best in the world for sexual equality in research publications. Southeast Europe, which would, usually refers to Yugoslavia and maybe Bulgaria, is roughly at parity. 49% of scientific researchers in the region are women. Some of this is a legacy of Soviet times, when communist regimes pressed both men and women into scientific careers, and did not always give them a choice about it. Well, this is obviously full of shit, because, well, being somebody from one of these communist countries, in Yugoslavia, it was a choice. Before the country was raped by NATO, my family, they had the choice to go into professional careers like this, and that did not exist when the countries were still feudal backwaters with little capital accumulation and agricultural agrarian peasantry.
Many people don't realize it, but most of Eastern Europe, before World War II, and certainly after World War II, given the additional destruction, most of Eastern Europe was a third world region. Thousands of villages were reduced to rubble. Illiteracy, poverty, disease, coal, hunger was the common lot among the peasantry and much of the working class, as it was before the war. Capital formation was almost non-existent. The same was true of pre-revolutionary Russia. The same was true of pre-revolutionary China. Communism, ladies and gentlemen, I say it without flinching, communism in Eastern Europe, Russia, China, Mongolia, North Korea, and Cuba brought land reform and human services, a dramatic bettering of the living conditions of hundreds of millions of people on a scale never before or never since witnessed in human history. And that's something to appreciate. Communism transformed desperately poor countries into societies in which everyone had adequate food, shelter, medical care, and education. And some of us who come from poor families, who carry around the hidden injuries of class, are very impressed by these achievements and are not willing to dismiss them as economistic. To say that socialism doesn't work is to overlook the fact that it did work, and it worked for hundreds of millions of people. But what about the democratic rights that they lost? We hear U.S. leaders talking about restoring democracy to the communist countries. But these countries, with the exception of Czechoslovakia, were not democracies before communism. Russia was a czarist autocracy. Poland was a right-wing fascist dictatorship under Pilsudski with concentration camps of its own. Albania was an Italian fascist protectorate as early as 1927. Cuba was a U.S.-sponsored dictatorship under that butcher Batista. Lithuania, Hungary, Romania, and Bulgaria were outright fascist regimes, openly allied with Nazi Germany in World War II. So what democracy are we talking about restoring? The socialist countries did not take away any rights that didn't exist there in the first place.
That wasn't there because Eastern Europe was mostly a place for, I guess, exploitation by larger empires, and when the Soviets come in and then they actually give people the chance to have decent lives, it's now a bad thing, as if they're forced to do that, as if they are forced to, take jobs that they want to take, because this article cites 0 sources, so it's literally just making things up, and it's really shitting on the legacy of the life that my family members and many other families could have had if the Eastern Bloc did not fall. And you know the story. So many people are moving out now, and it's just becoming that same situation again, where it's becoming another neoliberal place for exploitation and imperialism in the center of Europe. So that's just something to consider, and it really gets on my nerves. But anyway, we're going to continue with the article. Let's see. The coercion, oh no, is gone, or has gone, but the habit of women working in labs has remained. So, we'll continue. In Europe today, campaigners to get more women into top boffin, what the fuck does that mean? Jobs complain of a leaky pipeline. Many women end their involvement with STEM subjects, blah blah blah, after finishing college. However, a study by Microsoft finds that female role models strongly increase girls' interest in these subjects. According to the European Institute for Gender Equality, closing the gap between blah blah blah, STEM, blah blah blah, 1.2 million jobs. Yeah, you get the point. In 2017, more than half of EU businesses that tried to recruit ICT specialists had trouble filling the vacancies. Lithuania, which has Europe's narrowest employment gap between the sexes, and Bulgaria, which has the highest proportion of women in ICT specialized jobs in the region, found it easier. So yeah, during the mid to late part, I explained most of what I want to say, and here's the conclusion. Basically, The Economist will latch on to anything as an excuse to make socialism, communism look bad, and I wouldn't think that they would latch on to this out of all things, as something to be negative, because the central point is that women were forced and men were forced. That central point is wrong. It's empirically wrong. It's wrong, and there's no evidence for that. I just say it. So, the central link for this and for the entire, point of this article, not the entire point, I guess, but a major point of the article is basically based on lies, things that are not true, falsities, and Lenin already kind of roasted The Economist back in the 20th century, about 100 years ago, and, I guess nothing has really changed, right? We're still in this class society, and the same kind of stuff is being put out, but just in a different flavor for a different time. And that's all I have to say. Hopefully you enjoyed this quick informal video. I guess it's probably quick, I didn't check the time yet. But, yeah, if you enjoyed, please consider supporting this channel however you wish, and I will see you very soon.